Our 2016-17 audit is now complete, and it can be viewed on our website at www.sixnations.ca. We will also be having the audit presented at a future council meeting, which people are welcome to attend. I do want to report, however, that several council departments receive insufficient or no funding from the provincial and federal governments. As a result, we must rely on income from other sources, which include our OFNLP, which is Ontario First Nations Limited Partnership, or our gaming dollars. We need to rely on those and our user fees that are charged. The departments operating with the deficits are Public Works, which provides services to the community like maintaining the roads, the water, the landfill, and other services, which, after applying federal, provincial, and user fees, still leaves a funding shortfall of $1.4 million for that department. This shortfall is funded through the OFNLP dollars. Parks and Recreation is another area. OFNLP makes up the funding shortfall of $1 million to provide the following: the arena, the ball diamonds, the track, the Chiefswood Park, Community Hall, and Joe. The user fees charged for these venues do not cover the cost to operate, and so they must be subsidized through OFNLP. If we did not use these funds, we would have to charge community members for their use. Right now, the use of Joe is completely free to the community because we are using these dollars. In addition, if we were not able to use these dollars to help with the cost to maintain the arena, that means ice time rentals would have to go up, which would mean minor hockey, for example, would have to raise their registration rates. So we are using these dollars to help the community. Another department is the fire department. The fire department is funded only for structural fires, and all other services provided are covered through our OFNLP or our gaming dollars, which covers the $0.9 million shortfall. Lands and resources is another area. We continue the fight for our land claims, and it's not funded by anybody. So we use the OFNLP or the gaming dollars to cover this expense of $1.3 million. Central Admin is also taking advantage of some of the OFNLP dollars. And this department includes costs for providing the following: computer services, policy analysis, communications, human resources, finances, payroll, the SAO and the council secretaries, and some council expense. So we use the OFNLP dollars to support this in the amount of $500,000. Funding from INAC remains the same per membership numbers and does not consider inflation, technology, and growth in the community. So we do not get any increases from them. So we have had to rely on our gaming dollars to cover these costs for the benefit of the community. The results, we recently did a survey with the community with a number of questions, and the results are now completed and have been reported to council. So I just want to give everyone the results of those. Some of the questions that were asked is, what do you feel is the best option for the future use of the Birch lands? 51% said that they thought housing was the best use. 29% said farming. 17% said a treatment center, and 3% had other ideas. Would you like to see a neighborhood elderly watch in our community? 85% said yes. 15% said no. Would you be willing to participate in the neighborhood elderly watch? 61% said yes, they would, and 39% said no. Would you like to see a Crime Stoppers program on Six Nations? 85% said yes, and 15% said no. Would you like to see a methadone clinic on Six Nations? 59% said no, and 41% said yes. And should Six Nations get involved in medical cannabis? We know that cannabis is going to be legalized next year, but this question was specific to medical cannabis, and the answer was 45% said yes, 30% said no, and 25% said they needed more information. Would you like to see a casino at Six Nations? 55% said yes, and 45% said no. 204 surveys were submitted online, and 135 hard copies were received for a total of 339 surveys. These results will be listed in the next issue of our newsletter. Council will now discuss these results as well as work with the appropriate committees on next steps related to all of these issues.